Welcome back to Universal Love Law. Thank you very, very much for tuning into my Venus in Aries. So, for you guys who have Venus in Aries, there's a few things that I really want to point out for you guys so that you can have an understanding as far as your temperament. A lot of people I want to acknowledge are a little bit mean when it comes to describing the Venus and Aries energy, as far as saying they're selfish, self-centered, and things of that nature. And so I like to kind of rephrase it. I don't want to tippy-toe around the situation like as if you guys don't have those qualities, because an Aries that is immature will have those kind of qualities and will go out of their way to have their expectations met, even if it is with violence, force, aggression, all those different type of Martian tactics. Because remember, the Aries is the war, the baby war. Scorpio is the matured war, more calculated. Aries is like the hot fire. It's explosive, it's passionate, it's so beautiful, and it is very, very complex. But that's when it's in a more immature state. The more older you guys get, the more maturity that you guys gain, you're able to really hone in on your ability to inspire people around you. You guys have a very inspirational energy because you guys show people how to love themselves. A lot of the way you treat yourself is how people should treat themselves. Putting themselves first. Putting themselves in a position to be cared for. And a lot of the things that people don't know, because Aries, Venus people have such hard, tough skin when it comes to them professing their love, or when it comes to them being in love, really depending on the chart. They don't realize, like, when you guys have those type of outbursts in love where you guys, are upset and you really share your true expression, your true feelings, when people do not hold up to your expectation, where it's not what you say, it's how you say it, instead of, if they just come at you any old kind of way, like, you need to stop doing that, I don't like the way you did that, I don't like the way you talk to me. When they do that, they might start a heads up with you. They might, start something that they didn't bargain for, or but ultimately they do create insecurities within you, because remember, Venus is the baby. Aries is the baby. Venus is your love. Sometimes a baby in love, or a young person in young love, is a little bit reckless. They don't know the rules. Sometimes they do things out of pure passionate buildup. That is a force that needs to be learned with maturity, how to control and how to express without hurting other people's feelings. And so, that's why it's so important for you guys, for people who, if you're the Venus person, it's important for you to know that you do have outbursts that needs and requires a certain maturity level and awareness of when you feel that boiling up energy, because this is fire. You guys need to be very, very aware of when it's coming up, so that you can assert yourself in a way where you don't cause conflicts with others, and vice versa. People need to be aware that you have an expectation that, and it's good for you to tell people how you like to be treated, because if they just go off on you because you went off, because you're learning how to control that energy within yourself, it's only going to cause a bigger fire. And honestly, they don't want them problems. You know what I mean? Because not only would you lose an amazing, passionate lover, who a lot of people don't really give a lot of credit to the Aries Venus people. They love very passionately. They want to be seen with someone who is like an extension of them, that represents them, that is a reflection of them. And it's the first house energy. And so I understand this very well, because I've had a partner's planets, a lot of them, in my first house. And I'm not a first house person. First house is ruled by Aries. So I know, and my first house is in Pisces, but I know the dynamic because the first house ultimately is the reflection, the self-expression, the personality. And so when someone when someone's planets were like in my houses, I was like, I felt like they were a part of my status quo. And so this is the energy that an Aries carries when it comes to their Venus. When a person has Venus, I know that was a little bit off, a little bit for a little bit higher level. But like I'm gonna go to like more intermediate, just basic understanding of when it comes to Venus. And when it comes to Aries, Venus, Aries lovers are the image. They're the first house energy, okay? I know that sounds like, oh, because you might not know about houses, but if you do, you definitely can get a sense of what that entails. That is a person who, in love, sees you as a representation of them. So it's so important for you to be on your best, to treat them with respect, because Aries, Venus people really just want to be respected. Sometimes they don't like people. Sometimes they just want to be known for what they're good at. And it's really nice, like a person with Venus in Leo and a person with Venus in Aries, is really nice to stroke their ego. Not all the time. Don't just make stuff up like, oh, you know, every time you see them, because they're going to pick up on that. Although Aries is the baby of the zodiac, and wherever you have that, it's like a youthfulness of like me. My needs need to be met. Whatever area of like Moon, Jupiter, Mercury, whatever, wherever that Aries is, it's a me type of energy, because they're learning how to deal with other people in, that arena. And so that's why people with Venus and Aries, they're here to learn how to understand other people's, you know, how to have relations with other people, because they learn through the trial and error, because throughout life, they're going to always fall, bump their head, get back up and learn that, you know, I'm falling out with people a lot. And it might grow a resentment to people, like, you know, like a low-key, like, over-exhausting. Like, I don't even want to be around anybody right now. I love love and the thought of love, but sometimes Aries and Venus people really just want to be seen alone. They don't, you know what I mean? So it's very important for them to have relationships with people who are patient. You have to be patient when you're dealing with the Aries and Venus person, because they are learning what other people have already mastered. Like, you get a Taurus Venus person, they already know what another person's sensations and feelings are. They know how to make that person feel comfortable. And they do it through their intuition. They feel what that person is feeling. You know what I mean? They want to provide a stability and a sense of, you know, stableness. Same with, you know, there's a lot of other signs that do well in Venus, because they have an open understanding of another person's feelings, emotional state, and how to relate back and forth, problem solving, and things of that nature. Great qualities. Whereas Aries here is like the baby. They're learning how to do all that in this lifetime. They're learning how to not put their needs first, or maybe they need to do that in this lifetime. Then maybe if you have a Venus in Aries, maybe this is the life where you need to learn how to put your needs first and say no, and learn how to say no. Okay, this is why I don't, because everybody's chart is individual. So I prefer not to really put my projection on a person, because I love all the planets. I love all the signs. They're all very interesting how the energy plays out. And I've seen a number of birth charts to see that, wow, everyone's very unique. And I can see this, that the planet influences a person's essence. So I can't knock a person that has it, or say that they're selfish, or say that they're not caring of others, because you guys are. You like people who are on that stay true to themselves. who are, either going to go underneath your lead or in a very competitive but friendly, respectful competition. You know what I'm saying? Not like combative, because you guys are Martians, okay? I want to do these very deep psyche videos series eventually, where I get into really explaining the quality and characteristics of each sign and what constellation they come from, and the true essence of that energy by intuitively tapping into that frequency. But when you see Aries people, they have this war energy, which is something to be to me it's beautiful, because I'm a Martian like energy too. I'm an 8th house stellium full of Scorpio in my chart, but I look like fire because I'm fiery. But so and remember that Aries is the higher octave of Scorpio. So Aries is more lighter, it's authentically expressing, not so much premeditated and not so much calculated, okay? The Scorpio energy is very much so premeditated, and there's a revenge that comes in place when it comes to that Martian energy. And so it's very important for people to remember that there's differences, but there's similarities, because the Aries is fearless when they're under hot temperatures, when they are under friction, when they are in an uncomfortable position. And a lot of the times when it comes to Venus, which is 7th house energy, when people are unable to really tap into another person's state of being and feelings, and they're more self-observant, self-reliant, and have self-expectations to be needing, especially when it comes to that pleasure, because the Aries energy deals with the pleasure, okay? And I mean, the Venus does. So when a person has a initiation of what they feel like they want to get their needs met, it can come off very Martian like. And like, whereas the Scorpio energy is like pleasing the other person, pleasing themselves, off for like a power and control feeling, and so it gets really tainted, but it's something to consider. And so yeah, I don't want to make the video too long, but overall, let me know if you have any questions about your Aries Venus. Like, what are your challenges or anything? Like, share with us. This is a community for us to all come together and really express our individual energies, especially if you're the type of person who have a lot of aspects to your Venus in Aries. So like, if you have a bunch of squares, conjunctions, oppositions, trines that are on your other planets onto your Venus in Aries, is something to really consider, because it'll make you a little different than a person who has no aspect to their Venus. Then you're just purely that Aries and Venus energy, which is just initiating, self-starting. But if you have more, let's say you have more trines to your outer planets, to your other planets, that's helpful to you. If you have more squares, that can be a challenge. You can be a type of person who really experiences a lot when it comes to getting what you want. And you probably have to go through a lot of experiences until you learn the balance, because this is where Libra comes into play. Aries have to learn from their opposites. Aries opposite is Libra. So Aries and Libra, it rules Venus and is ruled by Venus. So Aries don't want to be nowhere. They don't want to associate with Libra, because it's the opposite of Libra. So it doesn't. So in love, it's not give and take. It's not balance. It's the total opposite, which is imbalance, self-focused, and that is all an energy that can be helped, like, and kind of humbled over time with the maturity, of course. But if you are on your journey where you're trying to understand your birth chart, and you're watching this video, then you are aware, because I'm pretty sure you've seen other videos where they talk about a Venus and Aries characteristics. And I know that is not it to a Venus, and because I'm very good at putting myself in other people's shoes. So I can only imagine how Venus and Aries person feels every time they click on a video and they're like, this is the selfish. You know what I mean? So, like, that's why I prefer to encourage you guys to know that maturity brings balance, understanding, humility, self-awareness, because these are all the qualities that your life lessons revolve around due to you having that detriment, which they would call that in astrology. What astrologers call a detriment, which is a more challenging energy. And it's just within you. And it's something that you attract. So you would just attract it. Like, you could be your sun sign, everything might be in perfect alignment and harmony when it comes to attracting the person or whatever it is that you want or brings you pleasure. But the hard part is when it comes down to you actually them getting to know you, and they're starting to see, wow, it's hard. This person is hard-headed, or they don't really listen before they listen to everything I would ask them. Now, I'm seeing that I really can't control them, because you guys, Aries energy plays the person who courts. They like to initiate and reach out and attract the person that they have. They like the chase. So if you're not making an Aries and Aries Venus person chase, they're not going to be all like, you know, down to just keep being chased. They don't want to be chased. They want to initiate the chase. But for Aries Venus women, they do kind of like that masculine alpha male energy. So it varies. But for as far as males, they are the alpha males. They look for more beta woman. They want a woman that is like submissive and girly and like, you know, respectful of her feminine energy and likes to be chased and courted, because that's the type of energy that plays out. But once the Venus an Aries person attracts and gets the person that they want, the person that they want begins to see that, whoa, this person is not as easy as I thought they were to deal with. What once was friendly and attractive and fun and light and play-hearted is now you're always bursting out in tantrums. And that's the way an Aries or Venus person shows you that they love you. They don't sit down and talk to you like, hey, you know, I need to talk to you. No, they show you with their actions and their responses. Okay? And so, yeah, I know that it's a lot. Like, I could go on and on and on if I just sit down in front of a camera and open my mind and intuitively tap into these planets. They talk to me. I talk back. So, yeah, don't feel bad, Venus and Aries. Don't worry. This is a start of a growing channel. I will always create content off inspiration. So this won't be the last time you hear about Venus and Aries or Aries energy as a whole. Please look forward to these semi-series where I'm able to go in depth on the constellation and more philosophical like storytelling on the energy itself. Okay? But thank you so much for tuning into Universal Love.